Bonjour tout le monde, bonne fête! Tell me, have you ever celebrated Christmas in France among the French? Well, if so, you've probably noticed some Christmas traditions that are different from the way we do things in the US. So let's get into 7 little differences about Christmas in France. And first, if you're new here, welcome, bienvenue. I'm Diane. I've lived in France since 2012, and here on We in France, we talk about everyday life in France and beyond from the perspective of an American. So let's get into it. Christmas in France versus the US. Number 1, Santa Claus is called le Père Noël. Yes, he's literally called Father Christmas, Père being father, and Noël is how you say Christmas in French. And in French, there's no variation of the word Santa or Santa Claus. It's le Père Noël. But he's the same jolly bearded guy we know and love, with the red suit and the hat. He just goes by a different name here, obviously. Okay, number 2. Kids leave their goodies for le Père Noël, the Santa Claus, in slippers or shoes on Christmas Eve. Now, in the US, we generally leave out a plate of cookies and milk for Santa, and we have our stockings hung above the fireplace or on the mantle. In France, it's all about the slippers, and there's no cookies and milk left out for Santa or his reindeer. Now, traditionally, French kids will leave their shoes by the fireplace in the hopes that the Père Noël will leave them little candies and other trinkets. Another difference is when the presents are opened. The presents are usually opened after dinner, on Christmas Eve or after the Christmas Eve Mass, not on Christmas Day in the morning like we often do in the US. And again, traditionally in France, the Père Noël, he comes when everyone's at church and not during the night leading into Christmas Day. But of course, this can depend on the family and the kids' ages and the particular family's beliefs and just how they celebrate Christmas. All right, number 3, the main event is Christmas Eve and Christmas Eve dinner. In the US, the big celebration, at least in my family, it was Christmas Day, the 25th. That's when you have family over, you celebrate Christmas on Christmas Day. In France, Christmas Eve is that main event. It's the big draw with friends and family, and that's when you get together and you have your big meal. It's a smaller celebration on Christmas Day. Now, the meal in France, as you know, the French take mealtime really seriously, and that Christmas Eve meal is no exception. It's elaborate, it's long, and it can go well into the night, or at least midnight or after. Okay, now festive French foods take center stage for Christmas Eve dinner, and a chapon, that's a cockerel that's been castrated, a special chicken, or even turkey are popular main course choices. Now, many families focus on the seafood on Christmas Eve, and they'll opt for that meat dish for a smaller Christmas Day meal. And that seafood's the focus. Now, Christmas Eve is called le réveillon de Noël, which comes from the French word réveiller, which means to wake up or to revive. Now, the meal, it often finishes with a traditional bûche de Noël, or a Yule log for dessert. It looks like this. And yes, it's delicious in a bunch of different flavors and options, so you can choose what you like. And definitely bring your appetite to a French Christmas Eve dinner. You're gonna need it. Okay, number 4, the big sales are after the holidays. So if you want to get a deal and save money on your Christmas gifts, which is super common in the US, don't expect to find that in France. Many gifts are going to be full price. Some stores do have promos here and there. It's just nowhere near like it is in the US, where a majority of stores have major money-saving sales from Black Friday all the way up to Christmas. France has 2 major sales periods per year. They're mandated by law. They're called les soldes, the sales. They're normally after Christmas in January and in July, and they run for about a month. But yeah, much to shoppers' dismay, these sales come after. So you just have to wait until then to save big money. So you kind of have to get used to paying full price for Christmas gifts in France. Now, that said, in recent years, France has kind of jumped on the Black Friday bandwagon, just without that cultural significance of Thanksgiving, since it's not a French holiday. And some stores will even call it Black November for the whole month, because it's not usually just that day after Thanksgiving, since there is no Thanksgiving. So a lot of stores do special deals in November. But again, it's nothing like Black Friday in the US. There's no crazy lines or frantic shoppers. Stores definitely don't open at 6 a.m. and the deals, they're not quite as deep. Okay, now to say a little bit more about saving money, I want to tell you about my sponsor today. It's Orange Holiday. It's an all-inclusive mobile phone SIM card or eSIM card that'll give you access to calls, text, and data while you're here in France or in Europe. So we all know that friend, maybe it's you, who went abroad just to come home to a crazy huge phone bill because we forgot to turn off our roaming. So to avoid that pricey mistake and the complicated international phone packages, just do it like the French do. Get a local SIM card with Orange Holiday, and it's the #1 network in France to use while you're abroad. You'll have service, and you'll be able to use your phone when you need it for whatever. Just pop in that SIM card into any unlocked phone. And also, there's a big contest coming up. If you have a trip to France planned this holiday season, be sure to enter the Orange Holiday Contest to win an extra 1,000 euros for your trip. It's through January 4th, 2022. And like I said, you can win an extra 1,000 euros to spend during your trip to France. So to enter, once you've landed in France, buy and use one of the Orange Holiday SIM cards, and you'll get an SMS, a text message right after with how to enter the contest. Okay, for more on that and to learn more about Orange Holiday, check the link below. And of course, bonne chance. Good luck. Okay, number 5. The French love their fancy food. Foie gras, or en français, foie gras. We have oysters and all that good stuff. It is all about the food. Now, that's not to say in the US we don't care about the food, but maybe the focus is more on the decor, the parties, the presents. And food's important, but in France, it's the main focus above all else. And it's for good reason. You know, there is no shortage of amazing French food, like delicious smoked salmon. As I said, foie gras, oysters, at the supermarket, at farmers markets, at specialty shops. The French go all in for their Christmas Eve meal. I love that. And keep in mind, if you don't feel like cooking, especially if you're having a huge party, specialty delis or caterers called le traiteur, they have options as well, and they're delicious. Okay, number 6, New Year's cards are the norm. Now, unlike the US where it's super common to send out holiday cards to your friends and family starting, late November, December, the French wait and they send out Happy New Year's cards. And in French, Happy New Year is Bonne Année. So that's not to say that you won't find Christmas cards in France or that no one does it. They do, but it's much more common among the French to do Happy New Year's cards. So common phrasing you'll see on them is, like I said, Bonne Année or Meilleurs vœux, which means Happy New Year and best wishes. So if you don't get a Christmas card from your French friend, don't worry, you weren't snubbed. Just wait a few weeks. All right, number 7. Lastly, Hanukkah is not big at all. You're not going to see menorah or dreidel decorations in the grocery store, nor will you see menorahs in store windows or really any reference to the Jewish holiday. And it actually surprised me to learn that after Israel and the US, that France has the highest population of Jewish people. And I'm not really sure how they measure that stat because the national census actually doesn't ask for any personal information such as race, religious affiliation, that sort of thing. Now, the Jewish community, of course, they celebrate Hanukkah. It's called la Hanukkah en français. It exists in France among the Jewish population, but it's not mainstream in terms of knowledge or visibility like it is in many areas of the US. In my experience in school growing up, there were a lot of kids who were Jewish, so we knew about it. Here, I feel like it's mostly invisible in small town France. So it'd be really rare to see a nicely lit menorah in someone's window or, I don't know, like blue and silver Hanukkah decor in the store. That would be a rarity. And if you were to drive about 5 or 10 minutes from my house, you'd come across a bunch of churches, 2, maybe 3 mosques, but a Jewish temple, it would be quite rare. All right, so that wraps up my list of differences about Christmas in France. I would love to know down below, have you celebrated Christmas in France? And what differences did you notice between Christmas in France and your home country? I'd love to hear about that. And also, if you feel like being festively French, check out some of my merch. I have some holiday designs, including this one over in my shop. If you're not into shirts, there's bags, there's masks, there's mugs, and that sort of thing. And if you haven't already, I'd love for you to hit subscribe. Be sure to sign up for my free newsletter. It's linked below. Upon signing up, you get a free PDF with some do's and don'ts for your trip to France and all that good stuff. And finally, thank you so much to Orange Holiday for sponsoring this video. Be sure to enter their contest with more info linked below. All right, bonne fête tout le monde, and see you back here on We in France soon. Salut!